How's it going, guys? So they have just announced the release date for IS6, and here I am talking about the best operators for IS6. Now definitely keep in mind that this list is more of my experience from playing CN for the past 6 months, and I did do a lot of study with a lot of the newest top players in CN as well, and this video will be mainly focused on operators that will get you through the highest difficulty. So if you're like, okay, I don't care about the highest difficulty, I want to play however I want, please go ahead. This is just a video about getting you through, like, you know, the trial and error period, so you know like which operators to pick first, and then you can start learning about the maps if you wish to do so that way. Now, another thing is that this video will mostly be focused on operators we currently have in global. I will put a spoiler section at the end of the video, and I'm mainly focused on operators in the future that are really good in IS6, but that you can see that in the timestamp. So if you don't want spoilers at all, you can skip that part. So without further to say, let us begin. First of all, of course, it has to be Vanguard, and it's not surprising to see these operators, I would say. Ines is probably the most basic choice, but in this IS, it's actually really easy to get 5-star operators for like really cheap. So I would actually highly recommend you, if you don't have Surfer and Cantabile leveled up, I would highly recommend get these two leveled up ASAP, because these are probably your main Vanguards that you can get for cheap. Ines is still a bit pricey. Like you can get her at 4 or 5 cost, and then one hope to E2, but still costs a bit more, and you do want a lot of 6 stars. So Ines is only like, you definitely need some of her abilities like bind, stuff like that. That's when you pick Ines. Usually it's going to be Surfer and Cantabile. Now if you don't have any hope at all, highly recommend getting Beanstalk and Myrtle. They're also still great. It's just that obviously you want to focus on probably the 5 stars, and then Beanstalk as an extra operator to pick. Myrtle is just when you already have Beanstalk. Probably go with Myrtle if you don't have any hope. That's Vanguard for you. Next up, we have guards. So first place that I can actually think of within guards is Angelica. I know that it might seem very gimmicky, but her skill 2 actually works perfectly with the free operator we get this time, which is Raidian. Spoiler alert, before the support part. Raidian is the top 0, the only tier 0 operator in this list. Okay, everyone else at best T1. Raidian is the only tier 0, and she completely destroys the game. If you grab her, it's easy mode. If you don't grab her, it's super hard mode. That's how much difference that she makes. And Angelica actually works really well with Raidian. Second up, we have Lazy Alta. The biggest reason I would pick her is just because that if you want to start with guard squad, she's probably one of your best bet. If you're going with other squads, I would actually pick Angelica and then Minar over these two. Now, over Lazy, I had to introduce more guards just because I feel like guards are so sad without like proper recommendations. I'm going to put in these 3. So Opianis, Silver Ash, and Chobai are actually decent. It's just that you still need a bit of work around them to learn the stages, and like you're mostly going to be using them if you're only playing guard squad and you're sort of limiting yourself. And then once DLC hits, they kind of fall off slightly. I would still recommend the top 3 here, and then the bottom 3 will have to go down a little bit more once the DLC hits. At the start, these are all great choices. I just would highly recommend Angelica first, just because of the combo you can get with her and Raidian. So that's it for guards. Next, we have defenders. As you can see right now, wink wink, defenders are kind of weak, and you would just pick Gumi most of the time. You can pick Shu, and then what you can do is you can pick up the whole Nian sibling squad if you really wanted to. The thing about this is that there is a node in this game that does require a lot of operators from Yan, and then Shu actually fits perfectly with them, so she's a great pick. Also, a lot of operators that have the Yan status, you might want to know like if they have it or not. You have to go through the files. Some of them feels like they should have it according to lore, like according to the story you've read, but no, they don't have it. And then some operators be like, wait, why do you even belong here? Like, I don't know why Exia as Yan status. It's like really weird. So you'll have to look through them. You'll see that a lot of operators now have like 2 origins. That you have to look through those yourself. And then yeah, you have to learn which operators are better to use. It's a huge list. I don't feel comfortable listing all of them out here, but Shu and Gumi are definitely decent picks, decent enough picks to choose if you do want to get a defender. I highly recommend not to use your hope on Shu though, so Gumi is probably your most common choice. Next, we have snipers. And I know what you're going to say. Wizardo you see up the front. Yes, she is still very strong. It's just that it is different to how we had in previous IS, where she dominates. Wizardo actually doesn't dominate as much right now. She is tier 1, just not tier 0. So she's still very strong. It's just that Naranchuya here is actually on about the same level just because of the mechanic of IS6. So you do want to make sure that you do have a lot of frequent hits and AoE damage. And that is why you don't see a common operator that I would put on this list. Do you realize that I don't have Ray in this banner, in this list? That's because she's single hit focused. And these are all multi-hit or AoE focused. Now, next we have, of course, Rosmontis. Who can forget about our favorite Rosmontis? Her module is just still great. Same reason for Arkedo. These are just great. It's just that don't forget you do need some air ability for anti-air. So Rosmontis does go down a little in some situations, and then Arkedo does go up in some situations. So it will be depending on your team that you have gotten, and not fully like in this order. So it depends on the situation. As long as you get these operators, you should be set for Sniper Squad. I just have to say that out of all the 4 class squads, Sniper Medic Squad is probably the weakest right now. And yeah, well, I'll mention why down the road when we talk about Medic as well. It's just really sad to see how one of my favorite squad, because I love Arkedo Star in so many ISs, and Wizardo obviously really broken, right? It's sad to see how Sniper Squad goes down. So that's it for snipers. Up next is casters. So casters, I would highly recommend Logos and Nymph as your starting picks. But Logos is definitely great. You can basically think of him as high ground, like ranged Milenar, right? So obviously it's really good to have good damage. Nymph is also really great just for her capability and control. And then Lapland Altar. This one does drop off once DLC hits. It's just that right now you can still use her. Down the road I would remove her completely and wouldn't recommend her down in like after DLC. But Logos and Nymph are still decent choices, especially Logos. The like huge damage that you can get out of him is really important. So highly recommend Logos to pick first. And then Nymph if you have the extra resources and you do want to play some, you know, caster specialist squad. Yeah, these are definitely great choices. Not so much Lapland Altar though. Remember how in IS5 we had a lot of buff to make Lapland Altar work because of how long her skill cooldown takes. It's not that really well in IS6. So it does fall down a bit down the line. So that's casters. Medics. So immediately you can see that Monster is not in here. And that is because in this IS, you actually want a lot more block. And that is why Calcid is actually replacing Monster in this situation. Next up, we have AFL. Her AO, like her ability to heal all across the map is still very strong. So I would still put her in here. It's just that she wouldn't be the thing that you prioritize anymore. You would probably want to get Calcid because being able to solo some maps is actually a really important trait in this IS. I'll explain why down the road. But like, just remember the fact that being able to perform a lot of things alone instead of playing in a team is more important in IS6 than any other previous IS. Now, Reed Altar is in here just because of all those enemies that require hit count, and the fact that her skill 3 can spread the fire allows you to take a huge bunch of them all at once, makes her just so great at those stages, and there's a lot of stages with that. And also her ability to hit air units, pretty critical. Now, obviously, next we have Armia. As per usual, AoE slow, pretty decent damage, true damage as well, and also heal at the same time. Always a worthy pick just because of how cheap it is, how low the hope cost is. And then at last, I would highly recommend Pure Stream. Pure Stream is one of those operators, like, you got the great area, you know, and then with her skill too, you can actually have pretty decent like burst healing as well. Always a great pick. You can also pick other 4-star medics. It's just that Pure Stream would be my highest recommendation when it comes to 4-star medic. You can still go with operators like Mir and whatnot, you know, that have really high single target healing. Pure Stream is just different because of her range. But that's medics. And she is here. The one and only Raidian. Raidian is one of those operators that just having her makes the entire run easy mode. And the difficult part about her is that you kind of need to level her up by grinding IS6. So unlike other operators where you can just use your resources like your EXP and your long mandala and then, you know, level up, E2, skill mastery, you have to actually play IS6 to unlock those. And there are some restrictions, like you have to do some in D5 to clear endings, and then it goes harder and harder to unlock skill masteries and so on. But there is a little trick where there is this squad that will give you a temporary recruit Raidian at the start of the moment you start the game. I think you have to get Raidian to E2 first, which is really easy, by the way. The hard part is actually going from E2 onwards. So you get that squad fully unlocked, potential unlocked, and then get your temporary recruit Raidian, which is max skill level, max also max module level, also really cheap, just basically free because of her talent in IS6 makes her basically free to E2, and she carries everything. She makes the boss stages like so easy, so trivial, it makes no sense. And if you decide to play without Raidian, that is like fully limiting yourself. You're going from easy mode to nightmare mode, something like that. It is significantly more difficult, and it's kind of an issue. Again, I'll have to mention that in this IS6, the ability to be able to solo stages is very important, and the fact that she is a summoner allows her to solo a lot of stages within the what was that called, the whole thingy, the node where you can go down to another floor, boss key, whatever that's called here. So being able to clear stages in that alone is really important, and Raidian is one of the best at that. And yeah, it's just no other thing I can say about her. Definitely your top pick if you just want to clear and just get your reward. Get Raidian, get her like maxed out, you win basically. Next, I will have to mention Tragodia. So Tragodia is one of those operators that at the start of IS6, he will carry you. You will not die with Tragodia. The thing is, the more familiar you are with the game, the less you feel like you need him, because at that point what you'd want is just more raw damage and other operators that can deal raw damage or more significant effects. And Tragodia, despite how strong his skill 2 is still limited in some sense. There are some situations like flying enemies that he just can't deal with. In those situations, Gnosis comes in, and Gnosis, his AoE stall capability, perfectly covers what you might get from Tragodia, and also gives fragile and whatnot. So Gnosis is actually a really great pick if you found that you are so familiar with the map and you're having a great run. You don't need Tragodia. If you're having a bad run though, Tragodia can still save your life, so I'll still put him on the higher priority than Gnosis, just because even me, I'm really familiar with IS6 now. I'm really good with using Raidian and whatnot. If I feel like, oh, this is not the best run, I'm not good getting good tickets, and I'm getting another supporter ticket, I'll pick Tragodia just to keep the game running, just to keep the run, and then eventually I'll make it through, because as long as you live, you can take more combat, you will win eventually. IS6 becomes really easy once you have Raidian and Tragodia. That basically 100% clear rate, which is ridiculous. And for the 4-star pick, I would actually prefer Deep Color just for the amount of block that she can have. So again, the amount of blocks that you gain is really important, and Deep Color is a great choice if you don't want to pick Radiant. Deep Color is a great choice. If you do have Radiant, Roberta is actually a great choice as well, but that would depend on the situation and your choice. So that would be it for supporters. Up last, we have Specialist. And no, I did not pick Extra Alta because she is my favorite operator. It is just the fact that she carries. If there is like 5 T1 operators in this list, she will be one of them. Actually top on the priority list. Mizuki and Ascalon are all great operators because, as I mentioned, there's a lot of enemies that does require hit count, and all like these two ambushes, and also Ethan. I should also bring in Ethan, but you get the point. They can all deal AoE damage over time, which makes them just perfect for a lot of these enemies that require hit count. Mizuki is actually slightly better than Ascalon in this situation just because of his IS mod, but Exia goes above all of them for her ability to get shield, so survivability, hence allowing her to solo some stages. Remember how I mentioned that soloing some stages is really important. Second of all, she can hit air units while your ambushes can't, and there are a lot of stages that require you to hit air in IS6. That is why Extra Alta is coming first. Now, Schweier Alta, I know a lot of people haven't heard of this name for a while, but she is surprisingly pretty good if you're playing specialist teams, especially. Actually really good. Please do give her a try. And at last, I'll talk about your quick redeploys. In IS6, I will bring Texas Alta in front of Yato Alta. I know I love my Yato Alta, but in this case, having the ability to AoE stun is just that much more important because of the amount of enemies that you do get in IS6. Having that AoE larger area as well, because it's a 3x3, while Yato is like a straight line. That area is also very important. Yato goes on the last just because even though she is still really good, she can still carry you through a lot of stages, and her skill 2, skill 3 are both great skills. It's just that within the top picks, she is the lowest. She is still a top pick though, don't get me wrong. So these two quick deploys are still really strong, and obviously at last we will have Ethan. But anyone like all the 5 stars, and you do not see Weedy here as well, for a good reason. Weedy is just too hard to use in IS6, and I just can't recommend her for anyone at this stage. If you're really good and you're like, oh my god, I am the master in Weedy push strats, go ahead. Weedy is still the only best push operator. Everyone that isn't like super into specialist teams and like Weedy strats, yeah, I would say skip that for this time around. Alrighty, that would be it for all the operators that we currently have in global. Next up, we'll talk about the spoilers. Now, the 5 future operators, so spoilers operators that will be the best in IS6. First of all, I have to talk about Hoshi Alta. Hoshi Alta plus Radiant is, I would say, the best combo in the game. These two make the defender supporter squad the best squad to start with. Absolutely broken. And remember how I mentioned you can get Radiant for really cheap, and then you can get Hoshi really early as well, and they both do really well in boss key. Absolutely broken. 100% must grab if you're going for a meta group. Too strong. Next we have Silver Ash Alta. The Silver Ash Alta is so freaking strong. Like, you can just grab any quick redeploys and you can get a bunch of damage out of him. And he is a Vanguard. A Vanguard with a lot of damage, and he decreases DP cost of operators with his skill 2 at the same time. And like his skill 2, okay, let me explain. His skill 2 basically gives other operators true Silver Slash upon deploy, and you can stack it twice, right? You know what's the most broken thing about that? Is that even if Silver Ash is retreated or dies, the true Silver Slash, quote unquote, that he has already applied stays. So let's say he already gave 5 operators each 2 stacks. You retreat him and you deploy 5 operators all at once. Each of them will do true Silver Slash twice. The 10 hits at the same moment if you do pause deploy. So strong. And like he also works well with agents, remember, because agents are also pretty quick to redeploy. You can just do gravel, still a pretty good choice if you have way too many specialist tickets. Overall, strong unit. Next we have Sakiko. So Sakiko is really simple. She doesn't have too complicated of a mechanic and whatnot. All you need to know of her is just damage. She is damage, okay? So whenever you need, if you're rocking another squad, you're not playing guards like Vanguard squad, right? You're like, okay, I just want damage. Grab Sakiko, you'll be fine. You just have a lot of damage, and it's not only limited IS. In fact, she is just high raw damage in general. Some to the point that she is kind of overkill, and hence you don't really see her in a lot of situations because she is mostly focused on single target. But let's say if you're in a boss fight in IS, or you have a lot of like really strong elite mobs in a map, or sometimes some maps will give you a boss in a normal map. I don't know why they do that. Sakiko just destroys them. Absolutely broke. Next we have Praminix. Oh my god, like these two are so good. Like, can you believe Silver Ash and Praminix are in the same banner and they're both great in IS6? It's cheating at this point. And yeah, the freeze that she can deal, the damage, survivability, everything you want, you have it. It's just that she does cost a bit more to deploy because she is a phalanx. So DP cost and then the time to get her skill ready takes a bit of time. So you're not going to be grabbing her like early game. I would say she's more of a late game operator to grab. It's just that she is so worth it. Trust me, got her level her up if you do get her down the road. And at last we will have Haruka. She is still really strong. The only reason she's down at last is just because everyone else is much stronger. Haruka, you can basically think of her as your survivability. So she kind of replaces Aya Alta, just that not the full map healing that you can get, but the AFK healing and like just pure survivability within a confined area. She is currently the best operator for that. And if you want to just tank some boss damage, like with Hoshi Alta plus Haruka, easy, actually just easy game. And then you can also grab Raidian as well to deal the damage. Makes the game super easy. And yeah, these are your future operators that I would highly recommend to grab if you do want to go deep in IS6. I would just say grab all of them because they're all really strong, and it's actually just 3 banners. We're gonna get Hoshi Alta next, and then Sakiko, and then yeah, Silver Ash in like 6 months or so. So that's it for the spoiler operators. If you find this video helpful, I definitely hope that you can give this a like and share it to your friends. And I want to add one last bit at the end of the video. Like I said at the start of the video, IS is about playing it your way, okay? So if you feel like you don't want to use these operators, in fact, you can do the opposite. You can say, okay, these are all meta operators. I don't want to use any of them. And I want to beat IS6 max difficulty without using any of them. That is completely up to you, and I will not judge, because the best thing about Arknights is that you can play it however you like, and you can most likely still clear them. I am just suggesting the easiest way, not the best way. So if you would very kindly give this video a like, and I'll see you guys in the next one, where I think I'm going to talk about the mechanic and talk about why being able to solo a lot of stages in boss heat is so important. So I'll see you guys in that video. Bye.